He was trying to show us things beyond just a picture. He was trying to get us to think about the cycles of nature and about life itself.
2026 will mark the 200th anniversary of Frederic Church's birth. As the stewards of Church's legacy, the Olana Partnership is committed to ensuring that Church is celebrated as one of the greatest artists in the history of the United States, whose work was in conversation with science and global culture. No other American artist in the 19th century achieved his level of fame. Church's vision took him from working with paint and canvas in the studio to creating Olana, a masterwork of landscape architecture and design. Olana narrowly escaped destruction in the 1960s and has evolved into the national landmark it is today, the most intact historic artist environment in the nation and possibly the world.
I personally think he's the greatest landscape painter of the 19th century, if not the greatest of all time.
Frederic Church is critical to defining who we are as a country. He gave us the picture of ourselves. The landscape view is how we remember and think of America today.
Yet Frederic Church is still not widely known. Over the last decade, the Olana Partnership, in cooperation with New York State Parks, has spearheaded initiatives to bring Church and Olana forward, fostering research and scholarship, engaging contemporary artists, writers, architects, landscape architects, and conservation partners. Olana has welcomed an ever more diverse audience of regional, national, and international visitors. The Olana Partnership's public programs, annual exhibitions, and comprehensive tour experiences enable the public to enter the world of Frederic Church.
Church was involved in the design of the house, the design of the landscape, used the site as his painting studio, and considered his landscape design one of his great works.
In anticipation of the 2026 celebration, great plans are underway. The nationally recognized Olana Strategic Landscape Design Plan has activated restoration projects around Olana's main house and in the historic farm complex, increasing access and interpretation to Olana as a complete work of art, which combines architectural, agricultural, and wilderness ideas into a singular environmental composition, all designed by Frederic Church around Olana's astonishing 360-degree views. Led by Nelson Bird Woltz landscape architects and a team of private and public professionals, this plan has led us to the Frederic Church Center for Art and Landscape. The building was designed by award-winning architects Adam Urinsky and Kim Yao of Architecture Research Office.
How do I feel about Olana? I feel like it's one of the great places in this country. And what do I see as its future? I think it's going to be ever more enjoyed by an ever more appreciative public.
In the meantime, acclaimed author Victoria Johnson is deep into travel research and writing for the first holistic biography of Frederic Church as painter, landscape architect, and environmentalist. We eagerly await a book which tells a broader story of Church as a person, explorer, and cultural figure.
His paintings are not photographic. They tell stories about the American place in the world, about the great struggles of the American 19th century, industrialization, slavery, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. He was a master and an innovator in turning landscape painting into a portrait of a nation.
The paintings are just endlessly kind of rich, and then of course what he did in Olana is another thing altogether.
There's really no one else who operates as the author. Maybe Thomas Jefferson was similarly someone who understood composition and design and architecture.
What makes his magic is that he had this creative vision where the science and the geology and the divine light are all kind of humming there together.
Frederic Church's Olana, an artist's home and studio, an experiential and environmental work of art, a 250-acre earthwork, a New York State historic site and public park, a regional economic engine, a national historic landmark, a viewing platform toward the American sublime, a mega artifact, a national preservation victory, the most intact historic artist's environment in the United States. Olana inspires. It immerses the visitor in a great 19th century American artist's vision that lives today as a compelling creative laboratory. Frederic Church envisioned Olana as a 250-acre environment, masterfully combining architectural, agricultural, park, and wilderness elements into a single artistic composition. Church wrote, "I can make more and better landscapes in this way than by tampering with canvas and paint in the studio." From Olana, one can see 4 states, and Church designed this work of environmental art around its near and distant views, now considered Olana's integral viewshed. Olana is an exalted hill of art. With its vast collections and protected views, Olana has stood the test of time and today thrives as a public work of American landscape art.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sean Sawyer, Washburn and Susan Oberwager, President of the Olana Partnership.
Hello. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to see you all here this evening. Welcome to the Olana Partnership's 25th annual Frederic Church Awards. A bit of a milestone, I think. Welcome to all of you here and to all of those watching our live broadcast, which has just started at home. The Frederic Church Award recognizes extraordinary contributions to American art and culture. And this year, we are thrilled to recognize artist David Hartt, landscape architect Thomas Woltz, and patrons Susan and David Rockefeller. For myself, for our Board of Trustees, I thank you all for your generous support of this year's honors. This provides critical funding for our work, for everything that we do at Olana. I want to thank our amazing Board of Trustees who are all amongst you here. We have an incredible board from around the country, and they lead the charge on this as they do on everything we do. Thank you. And believe it or not, this takes a little bit of work to get together every year. And I want to thank our amazing staff, many of whom are also out here with you. This effort is particularly led by Mark Przorski and Melanie Hasbrook and their teams, so thank you. So we will begin the awards program very shortly, but first I would like to share with you a glimpse at one of Olana's hidden treasures, Frederic Church's historic photography collection. Thank you. One of the silver linings we've been told by photography historians and experts of the collection being a hidden treasure is that rarely have any of them been seen since 1900, so they're in remarkable condition as well, which is a positive silver lining at least. The Olana Partnership took a major step toward bringing Church's historic photography collection to the attention of scholars and the public in 2023 when we engaged the artist David Hartt to curate an exhibition centered on it. David's show, Terraforming Olana's Historic Photography Collection Unearthed, was beautiful and thought-provoking, inviting visitors to reflect on the ways in which human culture and activity have shaped the land around the world and at Olana itself. David has told us how important this experience was for his work, and that is exactly what we seek to accomplish with our annual site-specific contemporary art commissions. So tonight, we are thrilled to present David with the Frederic Church Award. But first, let's learn a little bit more about him and his work.
My mother gave me a very good piece of advice. She said, always make sure your friends are smarter than you are. And David Hartt is one of those friends.
He's an artist that takes a long time to think about a project, to do research on a project. A lot of the work has been site-specific, and he takes that very seriously, spending time in a site, understanding the history of the site. So I really respect the process, and I think a result of that very thoughtful process are really thoughtful and meaningful works.
You know, what do I want the viewer to kind of think or see? I want them to kind of join me in this kind of questioning of the subjects.
One thing I think about his work is about his installations that was so beguiling is that there always something more about it that you want to probe you into looking deeper, because his work is so filled with layers of history and meaning that there's much more than meets the eye.
David's teaching is that it's really a community-based project. Many of the students at UPenn appear to be deeply influenced by David's approach to research, history, context, place, and how crucial it is for understanding how things are today to understand how they ended up that way.
When he sets himself a task to get to know a topic, he has to know it inside and out in order to feel that he can speak for that topic.
David is an artist that kind of triangulates amongst practices. He's a researcher, he's a filmmaker, a photographer, but then really often embeds himself in a site to understand it, to learn about it, to think of it.
So on the one hand, he maintains, I would say, a full integrity to conceptual art, but at the same time, recognizing that that was then and this is now. The beauty of David Hartt's work lies in the subjects that he chooses. Very, very, very complex subjects.
The terraforming project that David did at Olana in 2023, I think was a really important project for him, an important project for Olana, and kind of a perfect marriage.
When I visited the exhibition, I was struck by the generosity of the project. David expanded our understanding of church and cast Olana in a new light.
And I can't tell you how much of a delight and wonderful learning experience this has been, engaging with Olana, the collection, and Church's legacy. It's been an incredible privilege, and I just want to acknowledge that.
David is a fully rounded human being, and he's a fully rounded citizen. And he understands the duty to give back, making art, and then making sure that it's passed on by teaching students, but also participating as an advocate for art in the world.
David, my brother, congratulations on receiving the 2025 Frederic Church Award. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud to know you. Love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Hartt.
I have a lot of thank yous. That was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, John. Thank you. I was told to keep my remarks brief, and so to honor that, I wrote them down. All commissions are transformative, and as an artist, every opportunity to create work for an institution is important. But few offer the chance of paradigm shifts, moments where your practice makes a truly evolutionary leap. It requires partnership and a relationship built on trust and curiosity. It requires preparedness and the investment of imagination and resources. This is how I might characterize my experience of working with Olana and the sincere pride that I feel in the work that we were able to accomplish together. Will Coleman initially reached out to me with the offer of commissioning a new site-responsive work for the summer program. He was familiar with my interest in Frederic Church as a synthetic figure, an individual in the mold of Alexander von Humboldt, whose perspective and intelligence allow them to connect ideas across disciplines and geographies, bringing together concepts not yet bridged by theory or history. By following some of the pathways of church in my work, I was able to connect the threads of empire that are only recently being written about by scholars like Charmaine Nelson. Perhaps our initial conversations inspired Will to expand the invitation as it gradually evolved to also curate an exhibition of photographs from the vast collection that Frederic Church had assembled and is now held in the New York State Archives. The second part of the commission was transformative for me. The book Terraforming and the text that I contributed have become foundational and continue to inform the trajectory of my practice in pedagogy. My research for the essay became the basis for a class that I teach at the University of Pennsylvania called If Night is a Weed and Then Day Grows Less. And my recent film, The Garden, is rooted in histories and patterns that I discovered while writing for the book. I'm grateful to everyone at Olana for the support you provided. Thank you, Sean, Mark, Amy, Allegra, Ida, Carolyn, and everyone at People's Island. I'd like to end with a brief excerpt from the text Terraforming/Xenoforming. Today, our understanding of landscape represents the entanglement of human activity with all the other environmental actors in a described territory, from wilderness through to the legislated protection of a zone such as a state park. The status of landscapes are dependent on the contingent presence of humankind. The new civic landscape is an idea that recognizes the participation and agency of not only different cultural positions, both hegemonic and marginal, but also the collective of non-human agents that contribute towards the full realization of our shared environment. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Our next honoree has been referred to as the Olmsted of our generation. And at Olana, no one has done more to reawaken and make visible Church's artful landscape than Thomas Woltz. Beyond his extraordinary design skills, Thomas has a unique ability to articulate complex and sometimes challenging ideas in ways that unite a wide range of constituencies. This has had a huge and meaningful impact in the context of Olana's public-private partnership. Let's hear from others who have direct experience of Thomas's genius of place.
I believe that Thomas is a visionary. And the source for his vision as someone who believes in the integrity of the land and the place in which he's working, but also because of its history, because of the people who may have touched that land, has a story to tell.
Thomas is a tireless researcher, and he thinks about the history of the places he is engaged with. He does the work, and he thinks about it exceptionally multidimensionally.
Landscape architecture has to deal in 4 dimensions in a way that I think no other discipline really does. Managing a series of forces that are much bigger than yourself. I think he's articulated so beautifully how our communities can connect to those who came before and not only discover but appreciate or celebrate the stories that are embedded in these environments that his work unfolds.
And I loved his perspective that the land is full. Through landscape architecture, that we can use a methodology and process to mine and uncover histories often overlooked, that we can present to the public a multiplicity of stories that tells a more expansive story about American history.
I've never seen him frustrated, disappointed, or saying this cannot be done. It's always, okay, energy, excitement, new ideas.
Thomas brings a sense of fun to every gathering I've been a part of with him, a sense of that twinkle of what's going to happen next. And he's often the catalyst of whatever's wonderful and fun.
One story that I love is about this tower. The first thing you need to do, y'all need to pull this tower down. It's a safety hazard. It looks terrible. And so it was so interesting when Thomas came and we put on our boots and we were walking out here, and he came back to our other facility where we were staging a lot of the early planning. And he said, now just be sure you don't take down the tower.
Because of his belief in the integrity of the land, when you work at a place like Monticello that has such deep meaning for so many people, for so many different and complex reasons, to have someone who will allow the land and the space to tell its truth, and to allow people to engage that, it is such a pleasure and such an honor to be able to work with Thomas.
We knew that he would be the right person, not only because he's a great landscape architect and designer and someone who is deeply thoughtful about that, but because also someone who understands the history of a building, the history of a site. Everybody was extremely pleased also by his very thoughtful, very careful, I would say, also landscaping and reaction to Central Park environment, and to the whole history also of the building.
He's got such an exceptional eye, and he has the really distinctive, remarkable ability to communicate the nuance of what he's seeing and experiencing and touching. Very, very few people can do that.
He is so interested in discovering the history of the land where he's working. In fact, it's his first project on anything that he does. So when he was working in Houston for the Memorial Park, one of the things that he has designed for Memorial Park is a grove that's to reflect the soldiers who were killed in the war, who had camped out at Camp Logan. People get tears in their eyes when he talks about how he can use plants and landscape to reflect history and culture, and produces something that I think can only come from Thomas Woltz.
Thomas, my very, very dear friend, I want to congratulate you on the Frederic Church Award. It is so well deserved because of the work that you do and because of the way that you do it. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas L. Woltz.
Thank you. Thank you to all those beautiful, wonderful people who have noticed. All we have to work with is soil, plants, stone. Our means are extraordinarily modest, and so to have the work noticed is deeply moving. So thank you to everyone who contributed to that. I had not seen it, so. Thank you to the Olana Partnership for this extraordinary award. I accept this on behalf of the staff of Nelson Bird Woltz Landscape Architects, and in particular, Mark Streeter and Charlotte Barrows, who have worked with me. Who have worked with me on Olana over the years, as well as Susan Turner, who produced the essential cultural landscape synthesis guiding our work. Susan, will you raise your hand? Where are you, Susan Turner? There she is. All three of these folks are here tonight, and I'm so grateful for your presence. I also want to thank Robin Key and Mark Przorski, whose guiding leadership their guiding leadership has been critical to the awakening of Olana's landscape. It seemed to me that the most appropriate way to express my deep gratitude for this honor is to outline 4 essential lessons that I've learned over the last 12 years of intimate, albeit posthumous, dialogue with this extraordinary painter and his beloved creation, Olana. 1, the power of designing an immersive environment that continuously holds the mind and eye of the visitor in wonder, from the moment of arrival to the sad moment of departure. It is a constructed, living painting full of intent. That all site elements are to be considered in their individual roles, sustaining the effect of the whole composition. Landscape and building is a total work of art. This has become a guiding light for me in all of our projects. Number 2, that the most brilliant landscape compositions, if neglected, will swiftly fade from visibility and therefore from memory. Without tending, the masterpiece is lost. Meticulously designed carriage roads erode, composed meadows fill with depauperate forest, occluding the sweep of intended prospect and vista. Carefully composed productive landscapes of orchard and vegetable garden decay, or worse, they get paved just because they're flat. Buildings supporting the life of the working landscape, integral to the composition, decay and vanish without our tending hands. 3, a group of private citizens can be the catalyst for salvation, seeing what had become invisible, understanding what is at stake, and through fundraising, expertise, and dedication, rejuvenate a nearly lost landscape. In this case, TOP, the Olana Partnership nonprofit, working with the State of New York Parks and Recreation, have partnered to be the engine for transformation, revealing Church's intent and restoring the site to inspire generations to come. And the next great steward is Victoria Johnson with her upcoming biography of Frederic Church. And last, the work of transforming a private estate into a public landscape without losing the integrity of the cultural landscape takes the highest level of research and design finesse. Year by year, fulfilling the master plan, the carriage roads are restored, the redstone arrival sequence to the house is in place, retaining walls are built, the mingle garden is replanted, vistas are cleared and managed once again as meadows, and the Frederic Church Center, a remarkable collaboration between Nelsonberg Woltz and Architecture Research Office, has opened to the public. We still have substantial projects ahead, replanting the Fer Mornay and the orchard, restoring the barn, reconstructing outbuildings, and continuing to refine the very complex house environs. But I know we will get there. We have a plan. This is my ode of gratitude for the lessons that Olana has taught me, and to you, Mr. Church, I am forever grateful.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much. This has been, a while coming, and been looking forward to it. Thank you very, very much. I want to say a word about our awards. The Frederic Church Award is an obelisk. There's a reason for that. In the studio at Olana, the last of Church's studios that he designed and built, there is a obelisk of these dimensions, proportions on the mantle that was created by Tiffany and Company and given to those who were responsible for siting the obelisk in Central Park at the entrance to the Metropolitan Museum, Calvert Vaux's original south-facing entrance. And so it was a union of art and landscape. And that's what Olana is, and that's what we're about. So that's what the obelisk represents. And they're made in Italy, too. Anyway, not Egypt, but, So the final recipients of the 2025 Frederic Church Award are Olana's neighbors, Susan and David Rockefeller. As they have spent more time in the Valley over the past years, Susan and David have visited Olana with family and friends a number of times. And from their first visit, it was immediately evident to us that they got it. And that is what Olana is, that it is a uniquely intact and important artist environment in which architecture, art, and landscape are intertwined and convey a vision of humans living in harmony with nature that has a resonance for our world today. We are grateful for their enthusiasm and for our work and their generous support, particularly of the Frederic Church Center for Art and Landscape. Thank you, neighbors. Let's learn a little bit more about these passionate and hardworking champions of arts and environment.
They're so intentional in what they do and in their work. I think their passion for the oceans really is their passion for people. That the health of our oceans are central to our health. And if we lose the oceans, we lose everything. They dive into the science, and they're excellent communicators.
Susan was associated with Oceana as a wave maker, as the leader of the wave makers, and then David joined the board after her. And so we've all been together on the board for a number of years.
I think that their happy place, my sense as a friend, is really when they are on the sea. Brings them great joy to be on our oceans.
Sue and David work as a team. They're very aligned in their authenticity, are very interested in philanthropy and advocacy and leaving the world a better place than how they found it.
They're genuinely in touch, and for people in the position that they occupy in the world of philanthropy, that is very, very rare. One of the things I really love about Sue is her interest in supporting filmmakers, but also a wide range of knowledge at the intersection of science, sustainable agriculture, art, film. She herself is a filmmaker. She's a director as well as a producer.
I have to say, I'm very proud that I've spent more than one Oscar night with her, with films and artists that she's helped nurture and bring to the peak and pinnacle of success in the film world. And I think that openness, that willingness to kind of look beyond what might be expected and make themselves available to those of us who are working in this industry to promote art and artists, it's one of the biggest gifts they could give.
Well, as you know, David and Sue are also brilliant farmers. They have really taken up the interest of sustainable agriculture. They walk the talk, so they're really practicing the best thinking in farming practices. And Sue's direct involvement with stone barns. Their interest in farming, again, is a direct extension of their connection between land and sea, which is, of course, something that they think a lot about.
I know that they support upstate, over 700 farmers so they can certify. They believe in community, they believe in giving back, but not in a performative way. It really means something to them.
Philanthropy is a wonderful thing in itself. It's an enormous blessing to be able to participate in it. It takes a lot of time. It takes a tremendous amount of commitment, and they bring all that. But what we didn't know that really wonderful philanthropists do is they also bring joy.
as a friend of David and Sue's, it's not hard for me to mesh the environmentalist, the philanthropist, the advocate, the preservationist with two of the most truly heart-centered, funny, dedicated, warm, emotionally available, connected human beings on the planet.
Congratulations, David and Susan. You deserve this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susan and David Rockefeller.
I'm first?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Sean and Mark and your whole team for this really wonderful honor and for your inspired leadership of Olana. We all know how important leadership is. And certainly congratulations to our wonderful fellow honorees, David Hartt and our dear friend, Thomas Woltz. The Hudson River is the defining geographic icon of New York State. The Hudson River Valley is an, I would say, underappreciated source of nourishment for both body and soul. A place where bountiful farms have flourished for centuries and where artists have found inspiration for an equal period. Olana, the inspiration of Frederic Church, has always represented both kinds of nourishment. It's not just a house, but a curated landscape, a repository of great art, and a farm in the process of being reborn. Susan and I are so proud to be Olana's farming neighbors and among its loyal supporters. Thank you so much.
So hello, everyone, and wow, that was an amazing video. We did not know what to expect, and great editing, too. It was really good.
Can we use it?
Yeah, maybe we could use it. But anyway, David, thank you for those thoughtful remarks, and I also want to congratulate the other honorees, David Hartt and Thomas Woltz. On a personal note, I want to just talk personally about my experience at Olana. I visited Olana about 20 years ago over a chilly Thanksgiving weekend with David and our children. We have Annabelle here tonight, and David's father. And I remember being awestruck by Olana's vibrant colors, intricate decor, and varied landscape. And I had always admired Church's paintings, but Olana offered a deeper and a much more comprehensive revelation of his vision, not just as an artist, but as a conservationist and a farmer. He didn't just create beauty on his canvases, but rather infused beauty into every aspect of his life. Olana is a powerful reminder that art and design, when paired with intention and patience, can shape how we see the world and our place in it. With everyone's support, Olana can remain a place for education, inspiration, and wonder, and remind us of the importance of art, the power of nature, and protecting the places we love. So thank you so much for this award, and David and I are honored to be recipients of it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, David and Susan. And we look forward to the next house weekend and your visit. We enjoy it greatly. This concludes our awards program and the live broadcast. I'll see you again after dinner and when we're going to share some very exciting news about 2026. So stay tuned and enjoy.